Women were out in force during protests throughout the Arab Spring. Among other things, they were hoping for more rights. Now, a new poll by Thomson Reuters Foundation shows that women could be the biggest losers after the revolution. The survey shows that Egypt is topping the list as the worst when it comes to women's human rights, followed by Iraq and Saudi Arabia. The top three were Comoros, Oman, and Kuwait. Joining me now from our CNN London bureau is Monique Villa. She is the CEO of Thomson Reuters Foundation, the organization behind the poll. All right, so using this survey as a guide, what kinds of issues are women facing more now than they were before the upheavals?
Well, they face very new issues because what is really striking in this poll is that the women that have fought shoulder to shoulder with the men 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, for the Arab Spring, have now lost a lot of their dignity, a lot of their power, and a lot of their voices. And this is why Egypt, to the general surprise, really, has come worst of all countries, followed by Iraq, which was before the American invasion of the country in 2003, 10 years ago, at the avant-garde for women's rights. And sorry?
Let me ask you this.
Please?
Go ahead.
No. And so what this polls show very clearly is that the picture for the women's rights in the Arab world is very grim. And even Tunisia, who was among the first countries in the Arab world for women's rights, as before the Arab Spring, has gone under because today it is behind Oman and Kuwait and Jordan. So it's a very surprising poll, and it is a photography of the women's rights in the Arab world today by gender experts and a number of gender experts in the whole region.
Let me ask you why you think, or did the survey speak to this at all, why you think the women's rights have deteriorated in some of the places that were fighting for more equality and for democracy?
Well, it has deteriorated essentially because of the rise of radicalism, the rise of violence, and violence which in total impunity, that is to say that a man who in Egypt rape a woman is not arrested, is not condemned. So the rise of violence has been considerable in a country which was a very pacific country, Egypt. And today, women fight for everything, and you know, they have been just facts like 91 rape on Tahrir Square in July to silent women, and these are numbers from Human Rights Watch, or harassment according to the UN now reaches 99% of women in Egypt. So this is very grim. In Iraq, you have 1.6 million widows which cannot find a job. And so in these countries, when you cannot find a job, it is very difficult to survive and to have your children surviving. So so all these facts show how difficult a revolution is. And, you know, I am French, and if I remember that the French Revolution in 1789 was followed by years of violence and at some point of terror before we could find stability. So there is nothing totally surprising in that. But it's the radicalization, the violence, I mean the Islam radicalization, the violence that is absolutely not punished, and displacements that has made things much worse for women. And women were better off under Mubarak than today. It's unbelievable when you think of what happened almost 3 years ago on Tahrir Square.
Monique, this sounds not just like a government issue, that policies are set, or, for example, as you mentioned, that things are not prosecuted, such as rape or sexual assault, but also a societal issue. It doesn't sound like this is just something that the government has to do something about, but it sounds like it's something that's happening in society as well. Is that what the survey is basically telling us?
Yeah, because what we asked, the questions we asked to the respondent of our poll, and we are all gender specialists, doctors, lawyers, journalists, NGOs in each of these countries. where the sixth question regarding the CEDAW, that is to say, the UN convention that all these countries have signed, except 2 of them. So it is fundamental rights. It's not, Western judging what happens in the Arab countries. And these are the Arab people, because the poll was done in Arabic, in English, and in French, so they could answer in the language where they were the more comfortable. So they give a grim picture, because most of the political gains that women have won under Mubarak and after the revolution have now been lost. And indeed, women today are struggling to preserve their dignity in many cases. And far from progressing, they are now fighting to preserve the rights that they had before the Arab Spring. And you have that in Egypt, you have that in Iraq for different reasons, but you also have that in Tunisia, where they rank number 6 of the best countries, which is not that bad, but before they were at the avant-garde of the women's rights.
All right, I appreciate it, Monique Villa from the Thomson Reuters Foundation. Thank you so much for that. You mentioned the French Revolution. No, I do not remember that, but I do know about it. And also, Americans, it took a long time for women's suffrage and women's voting rights, though, to happen there. So as you talk about revolutions, we'll have to wait and see how these things pan out. But your survey is saying that things are getting worse for women and not better. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It's a picture of the situation today. It's just a picture. Thank you.
Thanks so much.